So we'll continue on here. Reviewing for test one, going to be Monday. We've got chapters 1 through 5. In the first chapter, we introduce the concept of science, try to hammer in the idea that science is this ever-changing, ever-growing acquisition of knowledge. And perfect example, in chapter 5, we talk about the fluid mosaic model of what we think is going on in the plasma membrane, and that's a prevailing theory, and it has stood up to scrutiny in the test of time, but we're constantly learning about that. And that is kind of a blend of chemistry and biology, because there's a lot of chemistry going on there, but it's also that is a structure within biological cells. So biology is a scientific field. It's a subfield of science, specifically studying life functions, what are organisms, what causes organisms. I know all science all science follows this generic idea of the scientific method. This is how we obtain new knowledge. We make an observation, we generate a hypothesis based on that observation, something that can be falsifiable, something we can verify, something we can find evidence that falsifies it, or find evidence that supports it. We don't prove anything. We learned that when we locked people up for saying the earth was round. We don't prove things, we just support them. And as our knowledge and understanding becomes more complete, we continue to support or reject those hypotheses and theories. So once you've got a hypothesis, then you create an experiment after that to test said hypothesis, look at the data. Does it support or disprove or reject your hypothesis? And then repeat. Find another variable to test. Can you repeat same experiment with the same results, or do you get different results? And that means maybe there's another variable there that's not controlled or not identified. So more than once, I'm going to have a page like this where I just say, here's a bunch of terms. These are definitions. There's no sense in me repeating the definitions. We talked about them once. They're in your text. If you're not sure, send me an email or kind of check it out. And if you get conflicting information, then let me know and let's find out. But variable, be familiar with what is an independent versus a dependent variable within an experiment. What is your control group? And be able to determine, if I give you an example of reasoning, is that inductive or deductive reasoning? Okay. Again, I'm going to try to move quick, try to not have too many parts to this video, but it's probably going to have, because I can only do 5 minutes on this app that I'm using. So we're probably going to have 8 or 9 parts here. Just sorry, it is what it is. Continuing on there in chapter 1, we talked about what is it that makes an organism an organism? What is it to be alive? And we said there were 8 criteria. I had you explore and think about how do you apply those 8 criteria to different organisms or things that are not organisms? What are some not organisms that you can apply these 8 criteria to and demonstrate how they are not alive or they're not an organism? Okay. What else? We talked about the structures. So these terms here that are in bold, if you look at these terms, and Steve, I don't remember what a biosphere is. All right, we'll go. That's a term that you need to make note on your notes right now. Hey, I need to go look up what is a biosphere. So those terms, whenever I say here's important terms, or whenever I say, you see a term like this is in bold and it's not ringing a bell, go. That's something you need to review. My goal here is to help you identify what are the pieces that are missing in your knowledge base right now. Okay. All right. What else we got here? And I almost all these slides I either pulled from previous lectures or I hobbled together pieces of 2 or 3 slides into one lecture. Unless it's one of these term slides where I'm like, here's a list of terms, what we've talked about. I need you to know these. This is the phylogenetic tree of life. Okay. This is, and I'm going to, got a few seconds here. So this is the phylogenetic tree of life. It explains how life has evolved, how organisms have become more and more complex over time. All right, I'm going to stop there. We'll pick up the next one.